You are listening to the Get Global Network podcast of Whole Mind, Body, and Soul, hosted by Lawrence-Coutee. You can hear Whole Mind, Body, and Soul Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific Time on Yessurr FM, one of the original member stations of the Get Global Network.
Shine, yeah. Let the world advance. Control your destiny. Wake up, make it.
Love, peace, and light. You're now tuned into the most inspirational and informative show on a Thursday night, where elevation through education is the goal. You've now got it locked in the mind, body, and soul. I am your host, Lawrence-Coutee. I am Ra, Asosa Ra. I hope everybody's having a high vibrational week as we get ready to cruise into the weekend. Tonight's special guest is no stranger to Whole Mind, Body, and Soul. We have intuitive muse and life coach Gebrina-Coutee with us tonight. We're going to get right back on where we left off in the 2016, talking about relationships, love, and the sacred art of Tantra. So we're going to be getting ready to go in with that, but we're so happy to have her back. This is going to be her first show for 2017. Gebrina, how are you doing, Queen?
I'm doing wonderful tonight. Thank you for having me.
Man, I'm so excited to have you back. I got a lot of positive feedback from the listening audience. They're always asking me when they go into podcasts and they hear these shows, when is she coming back on? And man, she is, so the women love you, the men love you. And like I said, we're just super excited to have you back on the show tonight. Welcome back for the 2017. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be back live. I'm excited that this is, one of the first shows in 2017. I mean, I just feel honored. I love hearing the feedback that I'm being of good use to the show. So I'm excited to get started. I'm excited to pour in tonight, and I have, I promise to be passionate and to give authentically tonight. So thank you for having me back.
You know what? With that being said, I want to just throw this out here. New year, okay? 2016 is gone. 2017, we're in the second month. I did the first show about spiritual New Year's resolutions. What are the things we should be focusing on? Because, the thing about a resolution is, we get gung-ho about it and we start things, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to stop this. But more on the spiritual aspect, I'm going to pose this to all my guests who come on. Where are we at right now, and some of the practical things that we could be doing right now as far as lining ourselves up with this energy that's going on and really focusing on how to make ourselves better, stay focused and not distracted on the bull stuff that's going on. Starting the show out tonight, can you kind of give the listening audience some things, some tips, so how to maintain their vibration in this new year,
Yes. Thank you for asking that. I'm excited about the new year on the Gregorian calendar, and I love the fact that you talk about resolution, and why is because put that down. That's my advice. Stop, these extravagant goals that spiritually you aren't even ready for, right? And to bring it to the spiritual piece of it all, we are in dead winter. It's cold outside. And places here in the northern hemisphere where it's cold, ain't nothing growing, and there's no, nothing to be planted. The ground is not even open. So it just behooves me, or it mystifies me on why the new year is dead. So it starts in the beginning of winter when the ground is not even supple to even plant anything. So if you can't plant, right, on frozen ground, so to speak, everything is hibernating. Everything is going inside and reflecting. So my spiritual tips or advice would be that's what we should be doing too, going inside and doing that inner flexion work so we can build the spirit of ourselves, build up our believability, right, in ourselves. That's what we should be doing, taking a real deep, conscious, all-awareness, universal, cosmic look at ourselves, right? And what that means is, what am I doing? What can I be doing to take myself up a notch, to evolve myself, to get ready for the spring when the ground is supple, right? And so if, losing weight or financial independence is one of those goals, then we should be going inside right now asking, what was going on? What did I contribute to in my body and my mind and my spirit in 2016 that stopped me from obtaining the goal of financial success and freedom? You got to find that within yourself, or you got to get with somebody who can help clear out the junk of all the stuff that's going on in your mind to help show you that, to be your reflection. Because sometimes it's hard to see ourselves, to get those questions answered. So everything that we should be doing right now is internal reflection or inner reflection about what do I need to get out the way. You know what I mean? And the layer off my body, off my mind, off the kingdom of my mind, so that when the sun hits the earth, when the ground becomes supple again, when the rain starts to fall in conjunction with the sun that makes everything grow, I'm ready to run. I'm ready to roll. So by summer, I'm ready to just go into full gear when everything is alive and preparing and doing and moving.
Excellent. And you know what? I agree. I know we talked about the calendar, and it's such science in that because, like you said, this is winter, and we all know that's on a conscious level that New Year is really in the spring. You know what I'm saying? When everything is alive and the earth is receiving, and that's springtime. And I think we're just so off center. But I like what you said. You said what you should be doing right now is going inside yourself. You know what I'm saying? And really reflecting and honing in and meditating on what you know you need to be doing. Because last year you was on it. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, don't start nothing in the new year. Don't wait till a new year to come along. You should have the momentum built up going into a new year. So 2016, you should have been gearing up, already doing. So when you go into the new year, guess what? You're already on it. You're just keeping the momentum. You're keeping the energy high. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree and support moving by momentum. Move when you are nudged to do so. Not when the new year comes around, not when a calendar date comes around. When you have divine inspiration in your body, in your soul, in your mind, and you get these nudges, that's when you move because you have all the energy from God that you need to make those changes. But if you move when the calendar says move, then you might not be in that space. You might be in a slumber. You might be in a state where you should be going inside, but you're trying to move like you got, Herculean power on you. Well, that energy passed you. It's not now. So move when you are inspired to do so.
Most definitely. And you know what? With that being said, what we need to be doing and really what's going on right now, can you kind of talk about staying in the moment, in the distractions? How can a person stay in the moment and kind of stay focused and everybody's talking about the presidency and, such and such name is doing this. We're so easily distracted. Can you give the listening audience some type of tips how to kind of live in the moment? Because that's another show I did in the past was how to really live in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Right. Living in the moment is also about taking heed to divine inspiration. Right. And so, oh my God, we live in a world that has us on this robotic track, this social engineered track. And so whatever they tell us to think about, that becomes our focus. Whenever they act like clowns and gestures in the street and on Twitter and going into people's countries and cutting up and taking babies and naming people and naming the people even in our own country. Now they do it live on YouTube. They knew that once they had the ability to put live feed on your phone or the ability to put pre-recorded stuff on your phone, that we would be witnessing a lot of distraction and destruction. That was by design. So for us to stay focused, first and foremost, you got to want to be focused. You got to give yourself reason to be present, right? You got to understand that what you think about can only expand. It's natural law. Period, point blank. There is no law higher than God's law, higher than what the universe does. So you got to understand natural law. You got to understand whatever you focus on. So if you're focusing on Trump showing his narrow butt, then that's going to be your world. You are consistently creating it and making it bigger and bigger. So if that's going to be your focus, then you are helping the world to, contribute to that what you say you don't want, to that what you say you fear. Right? So you have to make a decision on what is going to be your contribution. Your contribution is your right now focus. Whatever you think on and you believe is what you are creating more of. So are you going to be a help or a hindrance is the question you need to ask yourself. What are you doing? Because, and those other people can make a decision. They already made a decision that they want to distract you. They already made decisions that they want to do, things their way, the things that contribute to the life that they want. If it doesn't serve you, then why are you focused on it? So focus on what serves you. And it's hard. I mean, I hate in church when they used to tell me, just come out of it. You just stop that. Well, you can't just stop that. You got to give yourself reasons to stop that. That's why I say you got to learn natural law. Understand how this world, this cosmos, the entire universe works. What are the laws that govern it? That's what you need to be studying. And if you want to disagree with it, then you got to read it first, and then you got to focus on finding reasons and facts that make it not true. But at least you're focused on what you want to focus on. You're not focusing on the buffoonery that's happening in the street, so to speak. Hey, so you got to exchange what you don't want. You let it go by putting in there things that are facts, that are God's facts in your life. So you can give yourself reason to drop the foolishness of focusing on what you don't want and not being present. Because anything that does not serve you, that is not your passion, that is not building the world that you want, and you are out of your body. You are having an out-of-body experience. What centers you, what brings you back to the one, back to the God in you, is when you are walking in your path. So that should be enough reason that you want to focus, find out how to focus and be present on your life, what you want to build for you and everybody else's children.
You know what? I think a lot of times we want to do this work. We want to get out here and save the world, but we don't understand you got to save yourself first. And I was like, listen. I was listening to Brother Panic, and he made a point, and I agree with him because I did the same thing. I was an activist, and I was out here, I did the marching thing before everybody did the marching thing, trust me, you know what I'm saying, and then some. But it was only until I got on my path and went inside myself and found what I was supposed to be doing, and I realized I'm more of an impact now than I ever was marching and trying to change the world, but I had to change myself within. And what he said was just, it was deep, because he said, I again, now I've helped more people and I've become more impact once I got myself together. And I think that's the problem, is that we don't have our foundation. Like you said, study. You know what I'm saying? And Michael Jackson is so plain. You know what? I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his way. You know what I'm saying? And no message can be ever clear. If you want to make a difference, you know what I'm saying, you got to look in the mirror. You got to look at yourself and make a change. That was very powerful. We didn't understand what the hell he was talking about back then. I know I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand. I heard it. It resonated because it was truth. But until you walk in that path and say, you know what, if you want to make a difference, you know what I'm saying, you got to start with yourself and make a change, so.
Right. No, I agree with you 1,000%. I love Brother Panic. He is on it. So if people don't know about him, you better look him up. I agree with that. Like, I have never been so powerful. Feel like I've affected so much change in other people's lives till I started focusing on my own life and changing my own life, right? And that has to do with these doctrines and these institutions out here that's making us go somewhere to find God, go somewhere to get change. Let's come together and hold hands and be unified. I love the protesters. I love them because I know I'm not going to be out there doing it. So I want somebody, that's in that space and that frequency to do it. I mean, that is a portion of reality. However, my most effective change has been starting with myself. When people are able to witness the change in me, right, it literally changes them.
Right.
Right. So I'm with you.
Right. We're dealing with vibration and frequency. And I tell people all the time, if we're on a negative vibration, and we all agree that this planet in our communities is on a negative vibration, someone has to come in and shift the vibration. And they did a study where they brought some Tibetan monks from Tibet, and they dropped them off, kid you not, they dropped them off into the worst cities of crime-ridden cities, and then they said that the monks meditated for like 2 or 3 days, and just one monk in one high-crime area, they said the vibration changed, and people started being, hey, how you doing? Start speaking to one another. They started like going out in the community cleaning. I mean, but that's just one person. So imagine the power of unity. If you really want to change it, then change yourself, and you'll attract other people. And if everybody's on their frequency, then the planet will change. The consciousness will change. The world will change. So
oh, my goodness.
Very powerful and profound.
Profound. And I was going to say that as well, that, listen, if we only understood how much power that exists inside of us, if we understood that we are not our bodies, stop just looking at our bodies. We are not just the body. We are made in the image of everything that created this entire cosmos. We are that same atoms and energy. Like you said with the monk, I believe it. I know it's possible. So that's why if each person only focused on themselves, you look up and find the world that you out there protesting have. Get it. We think that what we're looking for, the change that we're looking for, is out in somebody's institution, is out in the sky. We got to be begging for change. No, the universe is under your command. It's waiting for you just to think, to go on that. We're so connected to every star in the planet. If people knew what and who God was, our life would be changed. And you only got to go within yourself to make them changes. I feel you. I know that to be true.
Right. Most definitely. I want to ask you this as we get ready to move on, and we're going to get into the subject. Again, I like to get people focused on what we should be doing, the direction, and give those tools and things. And I love what you said earlier. There are teachers out here. There are life coach. You're a life coach. I'm a life coach. There are actually people on the planet right now to assist. And I reach out and I ask that people who are listening to this podcast, listen to this live show, will take advantage of that. Take advantage of the resources, take advantage of the things that we're saying on the show and the information, and seek out someone that can help you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not just anybody. Do your research, because there's a lot of gurus and shamans out there. You know what I'm saying? That'll take you real fast. But do your research.
They're all too, cousin, but it's also a lot of aunties and mamas and pastors and you know what I mean, and daughters that's giving advice, but it's just same advice that wasn't working, and somehow we receive it as being something new and inspirational when it's the same stuff that hasn't been working. So I'm like you, pick out somebody that you see a serious, real, bona fide difference, a light in. Those are the people who you seek to change. So I'm with you on that.
what we're getting ready to do before we're going to break. We're going to break in about 10 minutes, but I really want to get into what the subject is tonight. And I really want to go back over, if people can go back to the archives and listen to the shows, we talk about love and we talk about Tantra. We talk about the sacredness, the science, the art, if you will, of that. And when we had some great shows in the past, and I tell you guys got to go back and listen to these shows we did. They are phenomenal, and the information that we gave out. Because tonight we're going to be talking about going into the deeper side of it. So before we get ready to break, I really want to go into and just, again, for those who really don't know anything about it, and, you know, before we go to break, we're going to break in 10 minutes. We want to talk a little bit about Tantra and why it's so important to understand it and to begin to practice it. And can you give the listening audience just a basic, you know, 101? And I know it's so deep, but, you know, give it to them, you know what I'm saying, in a way that they can kind of comprehend it and why it's important to really get into your sacred science, you know what I'm saying, of Tantra.
Right. And so, yes, I love that word, that it's a sacred science. And so you're also right, it's multi-dimensional. There's there's no one definition that could actually describe what Tantra is. There's multiple paths of Tantra. There's multiple ways to practice it, right? And then there's each region has their twist on it, their take on it, their stories and characters that they put into it. And so what I will say, though, is that what's called Neo-Tantra is what people are used to hearing a little bit about in the West. And that is the Tantra piece that is heavily focused on using orgasmic energy or sex, right, to find your way to God. However, because sex and God is so separated in the West, people only hear one or the other. So they tend to start thinking that Tantra is just sexual. It's better, freakier sex. And to clarify things, I just want people to understand about Tantra that it is a path. It is a path to God. It is multi-layered path in which you must master within yourself to connect you or bind you back to the source. And the source is God. God being all things, and you finally realizing that you are that which you seek. Right? And so Tantra, it is the path of life. Right? And one of those paths of life and energy that Tantra deals with is the sexual orgasmic energy, which is a very powerful energy, because from sexual orgasm, things are birthed, babies are birthed, souls come from heaven when people have these sexual exchanges and experiences. And so when you begin Tantra, you want to begin it from a theory standpoint. And I just want to also, make mention that there are many cultures that teach the path of Tantra where there is no sex involved for 2 years. Or they start teaching it from a very young age, so that when these people become 12 and 13 years old, they are sexually and mentally mature than any 50-year-old in the Western culture. So it's a path of life where you're learning the theories and the ways that teach you that you are that which you seek. That is theory first, then it's about orgasmic and touch and energy and how we're able to, through sex, return to God or create anything that we want on this planet. And so the ultimate is that we understand that just being is sex. What I mean, just you standing still, right, by yourself, because you are everything already. That's the ultimate knowing, that you're everything already. There's no partner needed, right, to bind back to God, because you are it. And so Tantra is the path of that. And to make it practical, I always love to use the Jesus path. Beautiful story. Wonderful story when you look at it from a non-judgmental standpoint. Everything about his life is the Tantric path. The miracles, the evolution, the quickness in raising up, right? And being able to connect with people that are, typically, in our culture, older than you, to be able to sit down and have communication. It's a beautiful path, ultimately, to where you master it. Jesus mastered this earth experience, and so he ascended. And so in Tantra, the ultimate is to ascend back to the source.
You know what? That's deep. Because people will talk about Jesus, but they don't really talk about Christ. And the Christ definition means he who is anointed. It's a title,
It's a title.
The Christ. Let this mind be in you that was in Christ. Then it says Jesus. But the mind of Christ. And before we get ready to break, I want you to talk about, just because now spirit is taking over, the mind, the mental preparedness, the sacredness of the mind, how to tap in the mental plane, because we're talking about creating mind over matter. The universe is mental. So when we're talking about being with a partner, and we talked about being distracted and having your mind here and there, but you're not focused on the act. You're not in the present. You're not in the moment. And how that affects, what goes in, the energy that you're putting into your partner, just the mind.
Oh, yes. Well, the mind is powerful, right? Because every thought, everything that we see starts with the mind. And so if we're not willing, or we don't know yet that we have to be a master of the mind, then you're putting any type of energy, right, unintentional energy into your partner, just like you put unintentional energy into the universe. So, just kind of touching on what the mind is possible of, it creates all things. It's the heartbeat of creation. And so back to natural law, understanding that whatever the mind thinks and believes, it's so. It starts to form. And so if you don't fix the way that you feel about the opposite energy that you're supposed to be utilizing to become one again, because, people think marriage is about, getting cars and, having children and, we building assets together. That's a minute piece. The point that we marry the opposite sex because we need the masculine and the feminine energy to be harmonious, to balance out, because everything that is God has both. Mm-hmm. So it's a higher purpose that we are together and bind together, right? And so when you bind that together and you understand and you learn those things, you become intentional about what you put into that, because you understand your partner is you. And so if the mind is always constantly creating, right, because it has the power and the ability to do that, you have to be intentional. And when you are not, you pour the things that you focus on into your relationship. So if you're always thinking about lack, if you're always thinking about who's dying, if you're always thinking about what Trump is doing, well, you're pouring that energy and that scarcity and fear into your relationship. So if you don't control the mind, then you're going to have exactly what you think about going on in your relationship, in your bedroom, in what you create. It's essential to control the mind.
Wow.
To understand it.
Wow. Man, that's deep. That's deep. And we're going to keep exploring that mind aspect of it, because like I said, the universe is mental, the Kabbalion, all is mind. The universe is mental. And I just think that's very and powerful when you're talking about the mind state before you get ready to make love. Like I said this on the show in the past, Prince rumored that he would make, such and such pray before they engaged in intercourse, putting them on a spiritual path before they united. So here we go back into the ritual aspect. And when we come back in, I want to talk about the ritual aspect and get into tonight's meat of it, which is the deeper side of Tantra. So right now, we're getting ready to break and go into the vibration of sound. You listen to Whole Mind, Body, and Soul, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to intuitive personal development coach Gebrina-Coutee from Eat, Pray, Tantra, and you're listening to Whole Mind, Body, and Soul.
Listen to the Get Global Network original show, Whole Mind, Body, and Soul, hosted by Lawrence-Coutee, on Yessurr FM, Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Yessurr FM is one of the original member stations of the Get Global Network.
We're back on Whole Mind, Body, and Soul. Special guest, Gebrina-Coutee. Man, we're going over it all tonight. First time having her back, 2017 show. We gave out spiritual, what you would call resolutions, what we need to be doing. We went over that. We talked about where we're at right now, the frequency that we're putting out, changing yourself. We went over and talked about the mind, that the universe is mental, and how what you do, thinking, your thoughts in your relationships, especially when you're engaging in intercourse, how that affects that relationship. Okay? We went over all of that, and as we come back in, we're going to jump right into the deeper levels of Tantra. When we say that, what are we talking about, Gebrina? What are we talking about? The deeper levels of Tantra.
The deeper levels of Tantra, I mean, it gets pretty deep. It gets pretty deep. In Tantra, let me start here. There is a first level of sex, right? There's a first level of learning. And I go to sex because I know in Neo-Tantra in the West, people, equate it to sex. And so that's a large piece. And it's a very, it's a sexual science. So, a person, when they get to this point, should understand that, what we've experienced on the planet, what we call reality, what we call culture, and what's common and what's normal is not all there is. That is the first level of existence. And a lot of people have been turned away from knowing the deeper levels of existence just on Earth, because we have a whole universe out there of intricate things that are going on. But just on Earth, most of us, even by ages of 40 and 50 and 70, have only experienced the first level of existence on Earth. And when you delve into any science, any sacred cosmic science, you start opening up doors to different dimensions, different possibilities, even tapping into abundance. People only know that on the surface level. If I think a thing, then it's going to happen. Well, what about all of what's happening in the unseen realm? That is a reality. There is something going on there. And so that's what you begin to tap into on deeper levels of Tantra, what's going on in the unseen reality and how to interact with that. You see what I'm saying? So it can get deep as shape-shifting. There are stories, and I want to use our ancestors in Africa, the Dagaras, the Dogons, people who have turned into wolves and dogs. Like, we see it in Lucy, and we love seeing it in a movie. We love seeing this woman on the screen morph into everything, into black liquid. You know what I'm saying? We love seeing the cars start talking to us on the screen. But we reject that reality in real life. And so when you delve into the deeper aspects of Tantra, these things become available to you. And, people think that, the deepest spirituality that you can get is in church. But I'm going to just keep it 100. I even think church has gone mainstream because I haven't really seen in a long while things get really spiritual and really deep in there. So Tantra, to me, is the real church. And I'm not negating what anybody else is doing out there, but I'm talking about tapping into God and tapping into the dimensions and spiritual things. It happens in Tantra. And anybody on first level of Tantra might accidentally tap into this stuff, but if you're just talking about it online and reading a book, this stuff you just can't get out of a book. You have to experience it. You have to go there. I've worked with Tantra coaches or gurus and masters. One story I can tell just to give you some idea of how deep it can go. See, we are dealing with multiple realities in our brain. We have not forgotten anything since we've been created. And if you think of it from a cosmic science perspective, and even NASA will confirm this, that we're all made of energy and atoms. That's just energy. It's not created, and it can't be destroyed. It's continuously always going. We haven't forgotten any of those memories. But let's forget that for now. Just the memories of since we were born, we haven't forgotten any of that stuff. All that stuff that's happened to us has been locked in our brain. And unfortunately, the most traumatic stuff sticks with us, and we're living in these constant loops, revolving doors of that we have not dealt with in the past. And so when you're dealing in Tantra, because it's the science of it, is to take you back to whatever it was that you are locked into that's blocking you from being your ultimate self and binding back to God. It's going to open it up for you if you really get into this science. And so when you get into opening that up, you might be dealing with some demons, your own personal demons. And so when we talk about that word, it gets over exemplified, and we're, we start, making it into some cartoon and, what they taught me in church and what I think is, no, people have their own personal demons. There is no devil larger than what you have held on to in the past that you have been tormenting yourself for years. That stuff will come up in Tantra. And you have to be trained, right, dealing with a partner that's trained to know how to deal with that when it does come up. And it will come up with so much energy because all of us have enough energy in us for 40 atomic bombs. We are powerful. We can light up a whole city. So when this lady came into connection with all the stuff she has not let go in her past, she was lying with her husband, and she started going through like these down memory lane, so to speak, and her husband couldn't even control her. He had to take her back to the guru, so the guru could talk her out of it, could nurture her out of all that she hadn't let go. But it had to look like that in order for her to become whole again. So it gets pretty deep. This stuff that you see in movies is stuff that happens in Tantra. Shape-shifting and talking to things, to ancestors, seeing visions, seeing past lives. People think we only got one life. They think it's blasphemy to talk about things that's happened before. No, we're talking about on a cosmic level. So Tantra is for people who are ready to bust out the norm, who are tired of being shut down to what's really going on the planet. So when I say deep, it gets multi-layered deep.
You know what? And I'm glad you said that. What's going on the planet? And I wanna ask this. The next day that the women, I didn't know they was planning this march, and I want to kind of tie this in, the Pussy March, and they had their hats on, and I just thought it was going on in Washington, but it was going on in Dallas, it was going on in several major cities, and then it was going on all over the world. What is the woman saying right now? You know what I'm saying? What are they standing up for? We see the rights on the table. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to take control of your body. I didn't understand what they were marching for, but the only thing I looked at, I didn't care what they were marching for. I just said, look at millions, you know what I'm saying, of women, yes, white, black, brown, whatever, whoever got down with it. And I looked at the feminine energy, and we always talk about the feminine energy, how powerful the feminine energy is, how they have to suppress the feminine energy. Because they don't
Yeah.
want you to know that the woman is God. They don't want to talk about Mary Magdalene. They don't want to talk about Lilith.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now we're going esoteric, and I know I'm losing a lot of people, but that's okay. But you're gonna learn. You gonna goddamn learn on the show. But what I say, but what Green, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I talked about 2012 and it's the return of the goddess energy on the planet and the feminine, and we talked about the wild woman. You know what I'm saying, on the show in the archives.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with the woman right now? Is she coming online, and where is she going? What is there awakening going on? What's going on?
Right. You know, this particular women's energy that's rising up is multi-level deep. And when these women are out there marching, let me just say this, there is a rebirthing or rebirthing of consciousness of women being gods, women having control over their choices, right? Control over the fact that we are the creators, control over the fact that there is no way other for a human to enter the planet but through me, but through a woman. That is some power. That is some trust from the universe. So there is a reawakening of that coming back. I do want to add, though, when I say multi-deep, is that was also a feminist movement, which I am not. So there is many things going on in that movement. However, what women can come together on is the fact that women do own their body. You see what I'm saying? And so there are this wild woman out there who is not afraid of men who try to degrade them in their body, right? Because, you know, there is a certain mindset of men out there who get off on shaming a woman for her sexuality. And so he feels himself because he grabbed the woman's pussy and made her feel degraded because he just the man in that way. And so, you know, what some of the women out there were saying is that my pussy will grab back. You don't scare me sexually. You know what I'm saying? I want sex too. And I'm not no hoe and I'm not no slut because I want sex as well. You're not doing anything, you know, at the end of the day. And so that is more the woman like myself, whom is the wild woman. She's spiritual. She loves men, but you will respect me. You will understand that I'm your way onto the planet. So I don't need you to, you know, show me no extra bow down to I'm better than you, but I am your mother. So there is a piece of that that's going on out there as well, but there's also the feminists who are saying we want equality, you know, don't touch women. And, I mean, there is a part of it that a woman, listen, we all came onto this planet butt naked. Period. There's no way to get on planet Earth with clothes on, with a skirt below your knees, with stockings on. You can't come onto the planet like that. So the fact that somebody is saying that now because you choose not to do it, because you choose to wear a skirt that almost shows your puss, that you disrespectful and you want me to take it. No, fool. I came onto the planet naked. I have a birthright and a right and a natural right to exist any way that I want to. And it doesn't mean that because I exist this way, because the culture norm, right, says that if a woman doesn't XYZ or shows her nipples, that means she wants your sex. No, she wants your sex when she wants your sex. Get it together. So Trump is, you know, this is representing perfect representation of the male, the unactualized male energy, the unspiritual male energy, the male energy that is in hate of women. He thinks that women are subservient to him. He forgot that his mother birthed him. Yeah, you make millions. I love it. I want to read every book you got. But at the end of the day, you came here through your mama. Don't forget it.
And you know what? I love this because I realize now we're going to have to tear it all down. And going forth, I'll lay down the gauntlet. The next show, I want us to tear it down. I mean, I want us to rip everything down from feminist movement to the holy whore. You know what I'm saying? From the Bible days. Why is a woman, again, made to feel ashamed of her body? And then I talked about this, the women in Africa that are running around, you know what I'm saying, with showing their breasts or no clothes, and someone who's outside their culture, or Natural Geographic, you know, that was porno to us. You know what I'm saying? You know, I can get a Playboy, but I can go get a National Geographic. But that's a woman in her natural state. I think that going forward, with me and you, we have to tear it all down. We have to teach the listeners who don't understand who the woman is. You came here through her. She is the vessel. You know, you didn't come from no damn rib, fool. That's not science. You know what I'm saying? We have to make it plain, because we're so stuck in talking snakes and fairy tales and somebody eating an apple. We've got to tear it down. And I believe, and I said it because I saw when the brother started saying that the woman is God, and the backlash from that. And then we did our research, we did our science, and we just thought, and it all made sense. But all of this stuff is happening on the planet right now for a reason. The march, the feminine, I'm not down. I didn't give a damn about that. I just saw the energy of women uniting. And let me tell you something about when women, and that's why they must suppress the woman. When women come online, this order, it's over with. It's over with. Their whole system is going to collapse. The matrix will be destroyed when the women unite. I'm sorry, men, you can take it the way you want to take it. The planet is in chaos because the woman is in chaos. When we get our women, elevate our women and put them back on the level that they should be on, as natural, you know what I'm saying, co-rulers and creators with us, then it's a wrap. It's our unity. They got to separate the male from the woman, the chauvinism, the rights, the this, the that. They have to do that. And it's brilliant. You know, it's tactical and brilliant how they divide us. And don't understand, we're talking about the union. As long as they don't unite, the male and female can never be equal and united, because that is going where their power and magic is. And that's why Tantra is dangerous, you know what I'm saying, to establishment, when you really understand it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You really understand it. Gee, I got to ask you, what's going on with you right now? I mean, you be rolling. I mean, I know people who hustle, and I know people who work a job, but you sister, you always got, you know, I'm going to get right back with you, cuz, okay. But you do, you know what I'm saying? But I have to be patient with you, because I said, man, this sister right here has got a lot of stuff going on. What's going on with you? Let the listening audience know what's going on with you, what's popping, how can you be reached, and all that good stuff.
Right. So first and foremost, I'm a life coach. And so I am always in the business of pushing people to their limits so that they can become their ultimate self. So if you are looking to move up to that next level, if you are tired of being stagnant and tired of thinking the mundane and thinking you can't have it, and just tired of being normal, and you got that little bit of inkling that you want more, then let me coach you, because you're going to get it this year, 2017. So if you want to connect with me, I am on Facebook. Come inbox me. I will. I have a fan page. I got a profile page. I have multiple groups. One is called Eat, Pray, Tantra, where we are always dissecting Tantra, dissecting relationship skills, dissecting the status quo. So if you're tired of being the same old, and you want something different, you have multiple mediums to get with me. I do have an email. It is eatpraytantra.com. Again, it's EAT. Pray, like pray to God, Tantra, TANTRA, @gmail.com. Shoot me an email, and I would love to get with you, tell you my prices, and we could do a free 30-minute coaching session to show you what I can do. Again, I have multiple groups on Facebook. I have one for the goddesses, who is all women. I do a live Thursday Facebook Live, where we talk about everything we talked about on the phone tonight. We even talk about parenting consciously, women and their money, because the universe is abundant. So we touch on those topics, and I do a 30-minute free FB Live on Thursdays. I am hosting a retreat, a Tantra retreat that's going to be in Atlanta in March, so the 4th through the 6th. Please do inbox me for tickets. So you'll be able to be with me live. We're going to be talking theory. We're going to be having the masculine and feminine energy in the building. So you'll be able to actually practice Tantra and energy projection, where you're able to touch a person without physically touching them. Or even if you do touch them, it doesn't have to be, sexual touch, in the sense where you're having intercourse. I show you how to make love to a person's mind and body without even taking your clothes off. And the last thing I'm doing, which we're doing together, because I'm just so excited about it, which is right in line with the women energy. You asked what is going on with the women's energy, and the women are affecting this planet. The energy is coming back. The woman is God, and she is showing up and she is showing out. And I came recently across this beautiful campaign called the Now We Know, that addresses how a woman realigns her womb, to me, with the universe. How she falls back in love with the way that she has her cycle every month, how she falls back in love with her blood, and how powerful and beautiful it is to be a woman, to even have that experience. And so we are offering them information on what's been going on with the products that we've been using next to our womb and in our bodies, that's been really throwing our bodies offline, throwing our minds offline, have a woman hating herself, in pain for 7 days. When she bleeds, go to the hospital. I mean, there's so many crazy things that has had the woman offline for so long. And how you know that she's coming back online, they have created a product to help a woman cherish her womb. In fact, the product is called Cherish. So we're able to offer a woman potentially a painless moon cycle or a menstrual cycle, shorten the amount of days where she has her cycle, virtually realign her body and protect her from all these electronic devices that's throwing a woman's body off and disconnecting her from the universe. Tantra is about reconnecting the body back to God, back to the universe. And so we're offering her a pad, right, for her menstrual cycle that is virtually going to reconnect her back to the universe. So if you were interested in understanding more about that product, again, you got to get me on Facebook, reach me through Lawrence, or reach out to Lawrence, and let me get you informed about the product.
Awesome. A lot of big things. I'm super excited about the product. I'm super excited about the business. It's a great opportunity to not only inform people and spread the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, of what's going on with the women and the toxics and things like that. I just did the show last week, Biological Warfare and the Science of Healing. All of this stuff goes in line one-on-one with what's going on right now. Man, I love you, and I love the moves you're making. I love to see you walking in your path. You're such an inspiration to me. And I'm down in this thing, but when I see you, you know what I'm saying, you really motivate me, you know what I'm saying, to step my game up, you know what I'm saying? And, we love having you on Whole Mind, Body, and Soul. We're so happy that this is your first show back for the 2017. As we get ready to wrap it up, you know what I'm saying, give us something from Spirit. What do you want to say? What is the message that you want to give the listening audience before we get ready to wrap up?
Thank you so much for having me. I love coming on your show. I think that our energy is so bound together. So I just love being a guest with you so that they can experience it too. And what I would, give tonight for my last giving is I was thinking, I really want us to realign ourselves back with the universe. And what that means is that, like, for me, this is a 4-year. And the reason why I know this is a number 4 year for me is because I understand how to numerology, how to calculate my numbers. And when a person understands their numbers, they know exactly what the universe is going to help them do, where their focus should be. My focus this year should be on building a stronger foundation, erecting businesses, getting my businesses, increasing the income, right, in my businesses. That's my focus, not on Trump. And I know that because the entire universe is telling me what to do, because numerology is connected also to the stars. The stars just is a view about the energy that's going on with the planet. But each one of us has a specific number between 0 and 9, right, that we're dealing with. And so when you find out what that number is through someone who does natal chart readings or through someone who does numerology, then you get to know what your focus is supposed to be. So you give yourself a reason for this year, 2017, a reason to be on focus. Once you crack open those numerology charts and understand that the stars ain't doing nothing but speaking God's language, you get to be focused. And so you get off YouTube, get out of Trump's face, and stop worrying about all that stuff, and you get to make this a powerful 2017. So my last word is get on top of them numbers, find out what your numbers are, and let's get it going.
Man, and that's what's up. And this has been a phenomenal show. I can't wait to get it out to the listening audience. I thank you so much, Queen, as always, for coming on, blessing us with the information, motivating us, you know what I'm saying, with the spirit to be better, to think better, and to do better, and really go out here and live this life of love, peace, good health, and abundance. And again, we look forward to having you back on. Guys, she's on every first of the month, every first Thursday. She will be right here on Whole Mind, Body, and Soul. With that being said, I can't wait to be back on next Thursday night. You're listening to Whole Mind, Body, and Soul, and I leave you with love, peace, and light.
You have been listening to the Get Global Network podcast of Whole Mind, Body, and Soul, hosted by Lawrence-Coutee. You can hear Whole Mind, Body, and Soul Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific Time on Yessurr FM, one of the original member stations of the Get Global Network. Listen to Yessurr FM and other member stations of the Get Global Network on the go by installing any of the Get Global Network apps, like So Metro Magazine, Grassroots Salute, Agtown Nation, or Big Red Radio Nation for your cell phone. The apps are available for download on both Google Play and iTunes app stores. Take the time to subscribe to our podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or the Spreaker Podcast Network.